All right, everybody, how's it going? It's Zero Hero. Um, I'm just gonna kind of wing it and explain what is going on. Uh, so this goes back quite far. When I was 5 years old, I was living in Duluth, Minnesota, and um, I was out playing with a bunch of kids in the neighborhood, and we were sledding down a hill made by a snowplow. And uh, these kids um, beat the shit out of me because I was always picked on, and then threw me down the hill. Um, from what I remember and from what my parents told me, within a few days I was urinating blood, and um, within a few weeks after that, I was taken in to have a procedure done to heal damage that was done to my kidney as well as my urethra. Unfortunately, it was about 2 years later. Uh, the surgery didn't quite take, and I had to go under again. This is all before I was a teenager. So another urethroplasty was done. So fast forward to 2014, towards the end of the year, and I started to notice that I was having issues urinating, and a lot of pain coming from my bladder and my prostate. And so I started to see a urologist. I underwent a lot of tests, including a cystoscopy, and it was discovered that I had a urethral stricture that had formed again. And that's basically scar tissue that builds up from damage, overuse, not in my case, uh, just a variety of different things. And again, urethral stricture, you can Google it. Um, so surgery was being planned out, and I was going to go through a very specific process. And my doctor put me on Flomax, and things are going okay. So as I continued to see the urologist and we were putting the plan into place, jump to March of 2015, 3 days before my birthday, which is April 2nd, I woke up in the morning and I was unable to urinate at all. The stricture had completely closed. So I called the surgeon, or excuse me, my urologist, and I was rushed into an emergency surgery where they placed what's called a suprapubic catheter. Um, it is basically a tube and a catheter that they put in right below your belly button directly into your bladder. So when I came out of surgery, I had a hose coming out from my abdomen, going directly into my bladder. And um, first time I saw it, went to shock and ended up staying in the hospital a couple days. Um, I have to say, thank God for Cody. Um, been with him going on 14 years, May 7th this year. I don't know what I would have done without him. Um, he had to help me bathe, um, really couldn't do anything. I had to stay on bed rest for a couple weeks. During this time, we owned a food truck and we were negotiating with Fox Searchlight Pictures to cater a film later that summer called Wilson with Woody Harrelson, Laura Dern. And I'm doing all of this with a bag of pee strapped to my leg that I had to empty every couple hours. And I hadn't told anyone. except a few of my employees and obviously my family and Cody. So 6 weeks later, the plan was to actually go through and do the um, urethroplasty, I believe it's called, surgery for the urethral stricture, and um, went into the hospital surrounded by my dad, my sister, my nieces, and Cody. And when I woke up, the first thing I did after coming out from the anesthesia is start to vomit profusely. At the time, the anesthesiologist realized that they gave me the wrong anesthesia. The next thing that I noticed is that my genitals were numb and I had no feeling in my arms. And so at that point, the doctors, the nurses, the surgeon, the anesthesiologist went into crisis mode um, and put me on gabapentin. I was in the hospital for quite a few days. My right arm was the least numb. That's proper English, and it cleared up before I left the hospital. My left arm, all the way down to the tips of my fingers, were numb for, I would say, at least 8 months. Again, I owned a food truck at the time, and there were a few occasions that I had actually put my hand on the flat top grill and uh, didn't notice it. Um, and Cody had to remind me that I had no feeling, got burned pretty bad a few times. Um, but anyway, uh, the end result of that surgery is they temporarily fixed my urethral stricture, and I have permanent nerve damage uh, in my scrotum. Half of it I don't feel, and I can literally shove a needle through it. The other half is a constant neuropathy, burning pain, similar to what people with diabetes experience in their feet. Um, it's something that I've come to live with, unfortunately, because it will never go away. And I have gone through so many different tests. I don't remember the specific name of the test, but they basically they shove needles into your muscles all over your body, and it runs on radio frequencies. So when they shove the needle into your muscle, then they sit there and move it around. And I can't tell you how painful it is, but what it's doing is it's picking up the signals from the nerves as to whether or not they're conducting. Um, I have this done in various locations in my body, including my genitals. So you can imagine having needles um, shoved in, moved around. Um, I cried through the entire experience. I had 3 of these tests, and um, the person that did this test, again, I don't remember what it's called, but they did discover that there's no conductivity where I feel the numbness, and there is hyperactivity where I feel the burning. Unfortunately, that's never going away. It's very similar to, I still can't taste fully after having COVID. Um, my smell has mostly returned, but I've been living with this now for going on 6 years this May, and um, it's definitely had an effect on my relationship with Cody. Um, they've tried a variety of medications and nothing has helped. So, in 2019, After Cody got into his scooter accident and had 2 knee surgeries and bedridden, I started to notice the symptoms I was experiencing before, and they're very mild. I reached out to a different neurologist at the University of Minnesota because I did not want to go back to HCMC, Hennepin County Medical Center, where Dr. Kendall Faya and his team performed the surgery. At the time, I had another um, cysto uh, cystoscopy, sorry, and the doctor at the time, she was fantastic, and she did say that the surgery and the grafting that they did on my urethra, which is my surgical site, is directly behind my scrotum on the uh, perineum, or some people just call it the taint. Um, and what she noticed is that where they closed me up, my urethra is starting to protrude through the skin. And so, um, because of what was going on with Cody, his second knee surgery required one of the top orthopedic surgeons in the United States to perform the surgery because his fractures uh, in his knee were vertical instead of horizontal. And so I had to put that on the back burner until what I thought he was healthy. Um, at that time, I was also doing in-home hospice care for a number of clients and taking care of Cody. I just got to the point that I was very overwhelmed and I wasn't able to take care of myself emotionally, mentally. And um, Cody's parents wanted him to move home after the surgery so that they could help take care of him. Unfortunately, things were a little rocky between Cody and I at the time, and we had discussed about parting ways. I was working with his parents through all of that and talked to his mom, and she invited me to move out here with him. And after some serious thought, I made the decision to move out here. In the process, I lost my insurance, and um, I moved here basically November of 2019, and I do have insurance now, but right now I'm in a very bad situation. The structure's back. Um, I have connected with Dr. Stephen Lynch. He's a urologist with Intermountain Healthcare. You can Google him. And so I've done a urine specimen on Friday of last week. They have to start with that to um, check and see if I have an infection. Got the results back today. There's no infection. So April 13th, I have a cystoscopy. Um, I used to call them cystography, but cystoscopy. Those are very painful and they're very expensive. Basically, what they do is they take a tube that is larger than a catheter, um, put it up into your urethra, put a dye in there, and fill my bladder with this liquid and dye. And then they um, have me urinate to measure the flow. They do ultrasounds on my bladder to make sure I'm emptying. Um, and with the pain and the symptoms I'm experiencing, um, The doctor has already told me that I need to prepare for surgery. He's received my medical records from HCMC as well as the University of Minnesota and gone over them. He saw the results from the last my God, cystoscopy and is very concerned. The reason I'm turning to everybody now, and I have to give Erica and Link Crypto a major shout out for um, jumping on this right away and telling me that I should do a fundraiser and ask for help because I'm not one to ask for help. I'm the one that takes care of everybody. Um, I uh, did home hospice with my mom. I did home hospice with my dad. Um, Very good friend of mine. I'm the nurturer. I'm the caregiver, and it's very hard for me to ask for help. But the surgery, when I need to undergo it, the actual urethroplasty is about $30,000. If they do end up placing the suprapubic catheter, that surgery is going to run me about $12,000 to $15,000. I do have insurance. I am covered under Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield through Cody's work, which is amazing. The hardest part right now is that the deductible is $3,000 and my max out of pocket for the year is $4,500. Um, so I don't need to raise $45,000. Right now, all I need to raise is $4,500 to cover my deductible and max out-of-pocket expenses, and then everything else is paid at 100% for the rest of the year, which is also why I'm pushing to get this taken care of as quickly as possible so that I do have enough time left in the year if anything happens. Um, all of my follow-up visits would be covered, any medications, all of that. And um, after the um, cystoscopy, um, I'll be meeting with Dr. Lynch, and I would imagine at that point, again, if he wants to start with the suprapubic, that would be scheduled that day, and it's very common for them to leave it in for 6 weeks. It relieves any pressure, strain, or stretching on your urethra so that when they go in and actually do the surgery, they can see um, what the stricture really looks like because it hasn't been stretching out from going to the bathroom. Um, this is it's embarrassing to talk to or talk about, but you know, I don't know if many of you know this, but I'll be 42 on April 2nd. Um, so it's my second golden birthday. Um, so I understand things like this happen. I've had friends who have been younger that have been through um, other things that people normally don't experience until they're in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I'm not going to let the embarrassment or shame of this get to me and stop me from reaching out to ask for help. Um, it's something that I have to deal with, and with help from anybody, was Cody walking by, um, I can get closer and closer to my goal, um, and hopefully get some sort of relief, at least with the urethral stricture. Um, Again, I've come to terms with the nerve damage that's been done and how it's affected me mentally, how it's affected my relationship with Cody, um, and really changed my life. So I think that's about it. April 13th, 2021, I go in for the procedure, cystoscopy. Just again, I called it cystography for so long and was corrected again the other day, so I get tongue twisted. But from here, I am going to keep everyone posted, and I'm not sure how to go about fundraising, um, but everybody in the Sometimes NFTs community is amazing, and um, we have some ideas. And again, everything, every little bit of help adds up, and it adds up quickly. Um, I am going to document my journey through this because there are a lot of people that do suffer from these, and it's very embarrassing for people to talk about it. And it'll also kind of help me feel better sharing my journey since I'm here before you right now asking for your help. So I didn't expect this to go on for 20 minutes, but it has. Um, I'm going to upload this to YouTube initially as private, so I can share this with Link, who has been working with an artist who has created an amazing, trippy as hell NFT that they are wanting to put up on auction to help me raise money. So, with that, I thank you all for listening. I do apologize for the length of the video. This will be released to the public very soon, within the next day or so. Again, once we get some more ideas about how to go about the fundraising. So thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of the Sometimes NFTs family. And I hope you all stay happy and healthy and feel loved, because without that, life doesn't mean a lot. And regardless of what I'm going through, I have love. I'm happy, healthy besides the issue going on, and I'm surrounded by people that care about me. And I feel so fortunate because I know there are a lot of you out there that don't have this. And that's why I call us a family. Thank you.